Hey guys, this is Nick and welcome to my Linux experiment. So as 2018 drew to a close, I think it's time for a series of totally inaccurate predictions. So here are my 10 Linux predictions for 2019. I'm a bit late. First one is more AAA games. I think with the improvements with SteamPlay and Proton and the large improvements in Vulkan and DXVK support on Linux, we're gonna see in 2019 a whole slew of new games coming to Linux. I think driver developers will make a better job of creating drivers for the platform. I think game developers will incite or will at least take advantage of Proton to bring their games the same day as they bring them on Windows and sometimes Mac OS. So while this might mean less native Linux ports, I think it might mean also a largely better and more complete library of games on Linux. Second is big names proprietary software. While this might be viewed as a bad thing by many people, I think Linux as a platform needs to have some of those big name company software, and these also are proprietary most of the time. So I think 2019 will be the year that these companies see all the hype around the gaming, the efforts that Valve makes, the efforts in the platform, and I think some companies will start porting their software to Linux, whereas they wouldn't have looked at it before. While I don't think we'll see the Adobe Creative Cloud yet, not in 2019 anyway, I think we're gonna see some other companies bring their software to Linux. My third prediction is that more computers will ship with Linux natively. Some manufacturers already have made efforts in this regard, most notably Dell with its XPS line, which ships with Ubuntu as well as Windows if you want. I think we're gonna see in 2019 a lot more manufacturers trying to bring Linux computers to the market. There has never been a better time for a manufacturer to try their hand again at Linux. And while that doesn't mean they will sell well, because traditionally these manufacturers have always made a terrible job at promoting them, putting them forward in their sites and marketing them, and while they traditionally as well only ship very entry-level software and not real complete powerful computers with Linux, I think we're gonna see a few steps in this direction in 2019. My fourth prediction is still no phone or mobile market share in 2019, apart from Android obviously, which I don't really consider as Linux. I think that the efforts that the Librem company is making to bring a completely free phone, and free as in free software, completely free phone with the GNOME efforts and the KDE efforts to bring Plasma Mobile and a GNOME responsive version for this phone, I think this is awesome. I think this is good, and this is gonna help on the desktop as well. But I still don't think that this is gonna be amounting to much in 2019. I think the market share of Linux on the mobile side is still gonna be pretty small in 2019. On the other hand, my fifth prediction is a much larger market share on the desktop for Linux in 2019. All the improvements above, big name company software, more AAA games, more manufacturers shipping computers, if those are true, this has to amount in better market share for Linux on the desktop. I think this is the year that many people are gonna try to take notice. Many people that didn't even know that Linux was an option or existed, and many people who had heard of it but thought it was too technical or too nerdy are gonna rethink their ways and are gonna maybe try it, and obviously some of them will stick to Linux. So I think that this year, 2019, is gonna be the year that we see a lot of growth in the market share department on the desktop. My sixth prediction is that display scaling will finally be perfected on Linux. While it might be almost there, it's almost there, but it's not there yet. We have integral scaling, like 1 time, 2 time, 3 time scaling, but fractional scaling can be haphazard on some desktop environments, and I think 2019 will finally be the year of full, complete high DPI supports, whatever the scale you want to use. My number 7 is that Ubuntu will still not become rejuvenated on the desktop in 2019. I think Canonical's focus is not on the desktop anymore. They made that clear. They're investing on the server side of things, they're trying to push their IoT side of things, and I don't think their desktop team is gonna see a huge revival. I don't think they're gonna bring a lot more customization, a lot more improvements to the default GNOME desktop, apart from having a always visible dock, which GNOME does not by default. I think they're gonna stick with mostly upstream and only bring a few customizations here and there, such as JS Connect, which is the GNOME version of KDE Connect, and maybe improvements to their installer, or maybe improvements to a welcome screen. Some little touches like that, and probably the theme will be touched here and there just to make it a little brighter, a little bit more vivid. But I don't think they're gonna refocus on the desktop again for 2019. Eighth prediction is Wayland still won't be the default on most Linux distributions. While I love the Wayland concept, and while I love the fact that it is absolutely the way forward to bring a new windowing system on Linux, a new display server on Linux, we need Wayland. But it's still not ready, and it still won't be as long as the major driver manufacturers don't work with it. If you're using open source drivers, chances are Wayland would work fine on your computer. But if you're using, for example, the proprietary NVIDIA driver, no luck. And if they do not support this pipeline, Wayland is never gonna pick up. And I don't think that in 2019 we'll see Wayland picking up steam. Not yet. Next is app distribution. App distribution on Linux is a complex matter, but I think 2019 will be the year that Flatpaks and snaps finally start to take a real hike in terms of distribution volume. Well, I'm not totally on board with the concept of Flatpaks and snaps, since I think they introduce duplicates entries in libraries, for example, and I think they are a bad thing for security because most developers will not embarrass to update the library versions they use, so they're going to ship with security flaws unpatched. I think they are still the way forward and that these issues can be solved easily. So I think that 2019 will be the year that most major applications will be shipped with using these formats, and most distributions will support them by default. And I expect also in 2019 a lot more work in the App Center department to isolate duplicate entries between the deb or RPM package and the Flatpak or snap packages. I think this is going to be the year that they finally explode. And number 10 is better looks. But I don't think that the Linux desktop looks bad for the moment, absolutely not. I think most Linux desktop environments look way better than what Mac OS X can achieve or what Windows can achieve. I think we're going to see improvements in the looks department. I think the GNOME project to bring a better Advaita theme, better icons, better colored icons, is gonna drive other desktop environments to try and improve their game as well, so it's only gonna be a good thing. I think GNOME-based distributions will probably base their new icon themes on the default GNOME one, improving the colors, improving some of the icons. I think Advaita will serve as the basis for other new themes. I think it's gonna be an all-around good year for the Linux look and feel. And these are my 10 predictions for 2019. Let's reconvene in 12 months and see if I was totally wrong or just a little bit wrong. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! If you enjoyed, please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. You can also follow me on Twitter at TheLinuxEXP. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye!